Hi, I'm Anna Fagin, and I'm the sound designer on BONNETS. So this was my first sound design project for theater, and I was mostly just going in with some basic approaches. I sort of wanted to do some cool vocal and processing effects on things like the God mic, the songs that we were doing for the show, and I sort of modified those for the virtual format by creating more soundscapes. So basically, that's just like putting the listener more in the setting because we can't rely on like stage production or other set pieces to create those settings. So instead, we're relying a bit more on sound, which is neat. And also, we wanted to do live performances of the songs. And instead, we have recordings of those. So we've had some studio time to put those together. And yeah, we'll hopefully be able to play those back during the show. And also on the last night, we're going to do live performances of the songs from social distance. So that's pretty cool too. So I got to collaborate with Grace, the music designer, for this project, and we've been friends for a while and peers and coworkers, so we work really well together, which is really nice. And basically, I picked, so a few things that we did together was first the transition music, which I picked songs that reflected the changing settings and time periods for the show. We have something from 1600s France, um, early English times, as well as Salem. So I sort of picked like Puritan pieces, Romanticism pieces, and a Baroque piece. And we decided that those would be the transition songs to go in between those settings. And Grace took those songs and arranged them for modern instruments and like punk instruments. So that way we had that juxtaposition and also like the thematic elements of bonnets. And then the other thing we worked on together was the song Chop Chop. We had another one of our great friends, Abby Harrison, run the session for us. We brought in some of our friends, musician female friends, and we all spent like a Friday night together recording it in the studio. It turned out amazing. And then Grace and I worked closely on getting all the actors into the studio one by one to record the lead vocals. That was a long process because we obviously had to do things one by one and wait a certain amount of time before another singer could come in. So we were in there like all weekend a few weeks ago, and it ended up working out really well. And we sort of got to play the roles of me as the engineer and her as the producer. And it was cool to see that as like the sound designer and music designer bringing like different perspectives on the piece to the session. And yeah, it was just a really nice partnership and collaboration. And I'm really glad I got to work with her. I had to rely mostly on sounds for this going virtual, which seems obvious, but I was sort of planning in like March when I first read the pieces, or sorry, in March when I first read the play to do a lot more processing and a lot more effects. But since people are going to be watching at home, I'm sort of making it more accessible for the assumption that people are going to be playing it obviously out of like computer speakers or phone speakers and not like high quality headphones or a high quality audio output. So I sort of had to rely on the sounds to do the job and be cool in themselves besides without additional processing or effects. And also just like the concept of pre-recording a band and not having a live performance with us was also an interesting thing to conceptualize. Um, the planning for that and bringing everything together totally made me respect and appreciate having a live band. The live band thing would have been so awesome. We were planning on having the band on stage for most of the show, and like hiding until they came out and performed, which would have been really awesome, as they would have been like, a part of the Bonnets. I think that we'll still get to have an element of that during the live performance on closing night on Halloween, where we'll live stream the band from Joshi Studios, which will be great. But that element would have really been something cool for an audience member to see, and something that was challenging as my first role on a sound designer, being responsible for that with Grace. So yeah, I wish we could have done that, but I think that we did the next best thing in the pre-recorded sessions, and they honestly sound really good, and I'm really happy with them. I think that the program that we're using, VMix, is kind of cool. VMix is something that is the program that we're using to stream the productions. And there's a lot of elements to it and a lot of challenges that it's thrown to our team. But it has a lot of great opportunities. At first, like, when I heard that we were doing everything online and virtual, I was a little like, what is this going to look like? But after looking at the program, it actually has so much potential, so many opportunities just for something really great to come out of it. And also like other production elements that we never would have had. The manipulation of having actors, all on the same call and showing themselves at different times. It's honestly really impressive how that program is able to make a show that we're all proud of, and that can reflect the story that we all know and love.